Hey, what up, guys? This is Randall with Roll Call Tech, and this is going to be a little overview tour of my server rack, or whatever you want to call it. Just a tour of my servers. This ain't really a server rack. I actually got this from one of my local schools. They were throwing it away. If you're about my age, you might remember a VCR stuck in there, and then they had a big old clunky TV up there. Yeah, this is a VCR stand. And it's actually working pretty good for my needs. So the school was throwing it away, so I threw it in the back of my truck, and I've had it in my garage for the longest time, and actually had my miter saw sitting on top of it, and it stands about 4 feet high, so it's about, right to my belly button, so it's a pretty good height for a miter saw. So I had it in my garage, and it was working great. Well, in my room, in my man cave, where I got all my gaming computers and my other computers and all my monitors and video surveillance stuff and all that fun stuff, I ended up picking up this Dell 490 first. Had it sitting next to it. Then I went ahead and picked up the Dell T7500. Well, after that, I'm like, okay, I need a place to put these, and I was actually thinking about building a server rack out of 2x4s, and lo and behold, I ended up having something that fit those two servers perfectly. So I spray painted it black, made it look all good, brought it here into my spare bedroom, and here we are. Well, let's go ahead and go over from top to bottom. Top, just have a little cheap 17-inch Acer monitor. I got it hooked up to a 2-port KVM switch. Right now I got it hooked up to well, I'll talk about my servers from top to bottom, but I got it hooked up to this server and this server. This server, I don't have a monitor hooked up to it, and I'll explain why, and I don't have a monitor hooked up to this, and I'll explain why. Well, this server, I've already did a video on. You guys can look it up. It's called it's a 4U home server build, and this is running a Xeon E3 1220 version 5, 32 gigabytes of DDR4 memory, and it is running FreeNAS. And actually, this server is which is very powerful, it's actually being underused right now because it's running FreeNAS, and it is actually my offline backup. So if I showed you the backside of the server rack, absolutely nothing is plugged into it. The only time that it's plugged in and on is if I'm doing a backup to it. So that's just a way for me to preserve my data. I don't know. Going on down, this is my new purchase. Whether this is going to stay in the rack or not is undecided on whether this is going to stay here in the house or whether it's going to end up in a data center. If it's up to me, it's going to be co-located in a data center. But this is a Dell R610. It has two Xeon X5540s. I want to say it's like 2.5 something gigahertz processors, 48 gigs of RAM, and it came with 6 146 gigabyte SAS drives. Right now, I wanted to make sure everything was working. I just literally got it about a week ago. I went ahead and got in there. It has the iDRAC Enterprise, has a PERC 6 RAID controller, and like I said, so what I did was I ended up doing a RAID 10 array with these 4 SAS drives right here. So these 4 drives right here are RAID 10. So I have about 300 gigabytes of usable storage on this array right here. And then I took these two 146 gigabyte SAS drives out, and I replaced it with 2 SATA 320 gig SAS drives, SATA drives, 2 320 gigabyte SATA drives in here, and I got that into RAID 1. So total, I got about 600 gigabytes of storage on this server. What I plan on doing if I do put this in a data center is this is going to be, just hosting TeamSpeak for my friends, hosting a couple game servers and stuff like that. That's the plan. And I found there's a cheap data center over here where I'm from in Atlanta where I can co-locate this thing for about $40 a month, which is a pretty good price. So whether I'm going to do that, I don't know. Still undecided. This right here is my daily driver. This is my Dell Precision T7500. I don't know why my camera will not focus. This is my Dell Precision T7500. This is my daily driver. It's on 24/7. It's running Plex. It's my file server. I got about 8 terabytes of redundant storage on here. I got these 2 hot swappable drive bays populated along with the 4 hard drive slots inside of it, populated with a whole bunch of 2 terabyte hard drives. So 8 terabytes of storage. This thing is running the Hex Core X5650s. So I got 24 cores, 48 gigs of RAM. This thing is just a straight beast. And then over here we have my first server workstation that I purchased. This is my Dell Precision 490. This is a little bit of a slower machine, a little bit of an older machine, and it's has 2 Xeon X5355 2.66 gigahertz processors, quad core, not hyper-threaded, and that has 32 gigabytes of DDR2 memory, and that right there is running VMware ESXi. So that is pretty much an overview of everything that I got right now. If that Dell R610 ends up in the data center, I'm going to wipe Windows 7 on it. Right now I just got Windows 7. Windows 7 is going to get wiped, and I'm going to put VMware ESXi so I can host some games. So there's an overview, and I got it in my spare bedroom, and I would pan to the right, but I didn't make the bed, and the wife would have a frickin' conniption fit if she found out I was posting all this shit on YouTube if I was showing the bed unmade. So this is my server rack in my spare bedroom. Like I said, I got it hooked up to an 8-port KVM. I got it hooked up to an 8-port switch. I got a Cat 6 cable that runs up into my man cave, and that hooks up to my router. So simple setup. So if you guys are looking for a cheap server rack, go to your local school and see if you can find one of these old VCR stands, because it works great. And like I said, this server is a 1U server. This is a 4U server, and you have enough room to put maybe about 5 or 6 1U servers in there if you wanted to on that top rack. Not to mention if you wanted to just stack them up right there. So, all right, guys, this is Randall with Roll Call Tech. About my new channel, I do have a gaming channel, SPD Ghost 408 Gaming. Ended up taking my tech videos off and put them on this channel just to try to separate them out, and I've still got the gaming channel up. So check out SPD Ghost 408 Gaming, and we'll see y'all later. This is Randall with Roll Call Tech. I'm out.